sharing my bullet journal setup for the remainder of 2023. This is for August through to December. Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. Today we are setting up a new bullet journal to finish up the rest of the year. My previous bullet journal was for January through to July, and this one will be from August through to December. I'm super excited. I'm cracking open a Archer and Olive coffee cup collab notebook. It was a collab with The Greater Good. I'm kind of nervous, but super excited to get started in that. I did keep a lot of the same layouts from my previous setup, but I'm linking that up in the cards above for you to check out. And I also have more setups linked down below. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. So today, like I mentioned, I will be setting up for the rest of 2023. As always, I am starting with my future log. Now, this is something I saw Jashi Corin do. Instead of starting my mid-year future log at January, I started with July. So it'll be July through to June, and then when I set up my new bullet journal for next year, it'll be January through to February. January through to December. I decided to use the same stamps that I did for my beginning 2023 setup, which again I've tagged in the cards above that you can check out. But sometimes it's just easier to stamp, and so that's what I did for this setup. I also decided to use a stencil to decorate around the edges, which you will see in my video shortly. I did quickly regret it, but it was too late, and so I just carried on, but we'll get into that shortly. For the months of the year, I am just stamping in the first letter. It's just quicker and easier, and I know it will fit versus having to stamp out everything. The stamp sets I am using are from Ali Edwards Designs. I don't think they're available anymore. If they are, I will link them down below and you can check that out. It's tough with stamp sets because a lot of the smaller boutique stamp stores, once they sell it, they don't bring it back. And I have so many stamps that I actually want to use. So if this is a stamp set you fell in love with and is no longer available, I'm really sorry. Let me know and I can find you a stamp set that is more similar. So the calendar stamp set is one from my shop. My shop's currently not open, but I do have a couple more sets available when it does. So again, let me know if you're interested in grabbing a calendar stamp set, and we can get that going for you. So this is the stencil I decided to use. This is a Dina Wakley stencil from Ranger. And I'm using pencil to pencil in the lines. Now, I'm going to be using acrylographs to color them in. If I use the acrylograph directly with the stencil, I found that the acrylograph ink would bleed under the stencil and it was just a giant mess. So it was just easier to draw the lines or outline the stencil and then color with the paint. Even then, because the lines between the segments of the stencil were so thin, there was still a little bit of bending and lines blurring together. So just kind of had to go with the flow. And then I also had my warm fall cocoa acrylograph, which turns out to be my most used acrylograph. It had a little accident, so I redid my designs, and you'll see that shortly. I included some of the darker version or variation of the color I used. So it ended up looking really fun, and I was happy with how it turned out. And then I realized I forgot to start putting my tabs together, which is what you see me doing here. I'm just coloring in with the acrylograph. My blue acrylograph, the paint wasn't flowing as easily, so it was taking a little bit longer. But again, I really do like the effect, and it's so easy to go in with a white acrylograph or a white gel pen and label it. So I was happy with that overall. And it was about here where I started regretting my choices for this design because it took a really long time, and I had a neck spasm shortly after doing this layout. So I was getting a lot of back pain. So for those of you with chronic pain, oh, my heart went out to you so much during this whole setup because I was not comfortable. And I was making silly mistakes because I was just having a hard time focusing. So when I do my tabs, I do like to keep the corners of my journal rounded. This is an Archer and Olive notebook, B5 size. And I like to kind of keep that rounded corner. So I just use a corner punch, which I've linked down below, to punch out the corners so that they kind of look the same. For the tabs are a little bit small and my corner punch doesn't fit. So I just end up cutting those by hand. But this is where you see me add a little bit of darker color into the design, since the cocoa brown on the other side ended up having a mini explosion. And yeah, so that decided my design for the rest of the setup. I did do a hand-lettered cover page, which I will be sharing in a different video. But now you see me just adding some fun extra touches throughout. And while I'm filming this voiceover, I realized this was the only place I used those black dots. But there were other places in the setup that I could use those dots too. So I might go back and add them, but realistically, probably not. And then I just use a white gel pen to label the tab Future Log. And then once the white gel was dry, that's when I went in and I colored in the other side. I do edit out the dry times of my videos, obviously, or else we will sometimes be sitting here for a while. And that's what I did there. I just edited out the dry time. And so I went for a kind of retro fun color scheme where I have the soft pastels or the softer colors, and then I just used the darker variations just for some visual interest and fun. And that's where you saw me hole punch the corners to make it seem or make it look the same as the rest of the notebook. The stencil is from Ali Edwards as well. It's really fun. I used it for the first time in my previous bullet journal setup, and I really enjoyed it. So this page is for my content ideas. Now, for my content planning, I actually use Notion on my iPad and on my computer, but this page is just to kind of capture ideas in the moment. And I kind of like having this brainstorming page so that while I'm watching other videos or drawing or coloring or whatever I'm doing, I'm able to just page to this page and start writing down ideas. And then again, I just go in and draw the stencil. There are 3 different kinds of circles in the stencil. Normally I'd use the stencil with stencil paste or the distress inks, but I thought it would be fun. I thought it would be quick and easy to use it like this for this journal setup. And I mean, it was and it wasn't. It's fun though. It's definitely an option for when you want something fun to do, and that is to just kind of grab a stencil and start designing. I just happened to grab this one. I do have a dumpster fire layout that I did using a stencil. I've linked that up in the cards for you to check out as well. And you can kind of get an idea for the various ways that you can use those stencils. And so here you just see me outlining those colors just to make them pop a little bit more. It's something I've really gotten into lately, where I am outlining the color in the darker version of that color or a darker hue of that color. instead of black. My go-to used to be the black outline, and I've really started liking the more colorful outlines. So I'm kind of incorporating that here as well. I do a lot of that in my digital work, so it's something I've been wanting to incorporate more here as well. And then what you saw there was I mislabeled my tab and the ink was still wet and it's light blue, so I was just able to wipe it off and go in and write it again. And as always, you see me do my lines on my pages, my outlines. And that's because I just love it. I feel like it finishes off the design so well and it's so fun. It's got a bit of a quirky 70s feel, maybe. I don't know, modern 70s feel. But, well, it was a lot of work and my back was in a lot of pain. I actually do like how this turned out a lot. So this next page you see me putting together is my blog video tracker, I guess, Kanban board kind of hybrid. I started doing this 2 or 3 years ago, I think, or 3 or 4 bullet journal setups ago. And I really like it. It's a checklist where I can keep track of where I'm at in the blog writing and the video editing process. I've split it up into the 2 different sections, one for blog writing and one for video editing. And this line I'm drawing right now, that's where you see, and that's where the divide between the 2 exist. This has gone through different variations and checkpoints over the years, but it's very similar to the one I set up in the beginning of the year, with a couple of changes. I started tracking my social media through Notion, and so I removed that out of my checklist because it just wasn't serving a purpose. I do apologize for the background noise. It's school holidays. It is what it is. So thank you for your patience as I parent while trying to get my video out. Let me know down in the comments below if you can relate to trying to get stuff done while the littles are living their best lives. So I did want to add some more color to this page, and that's what you see me do here. If you want to see what headlines or what titles I'm using for my columns, you can head on over to the blog, which I've linked down below as well, and you can get a closer look at what I track and a bit more of what my process is for my tracking, my video blog tracking. So this page I introduced probably, I think, 3 bullet journal setups ago. And this is a project list. Now, while I do have something similar to this in Notion, I like having this in my bullet journal because I like being able to go in and actually physically mark my progress because it's nice. It actually really helps to keep me on track. So I did this. I'll do a video where I talk about my setup from early 2023, and there's actually quite a few projects that I finished off. My idea here was to only include major projects and then have 6 major projects a year. If I finish a project, I can definitely add more, which I finished a couple. But then I kind of have bigger projects that have been procrastinating that I need to bring back. So lately, in order to fix my mistakes, I've just been using a white gel pen, and I have to say it's been amazing. It dries so quickly, and it's really been this. Honestly, the white gel pen has been my savior for this setup, and it's just a Sakura jelly roll in size 1, in the 10, in the biggest size. I can't recall, but it's the biggest size. So for the projects, I have the name, the due date, the priority, and then 6 or 8 action steps to take. depending on the size of the goal, those action steps could be mini goals themselves, and then just further break down the action steps that need to be taken. And that's kind of where I use Notion. I'm hoping to do a video on how I use my Notion shortly, but I'm still in the process of kind of getting a comfortable groove for it. So on this page, I have a books and courses layout. Now, I am a chronic course signer upper. I have registered for so many courses and I don't always take them. And so it's been my goal to kind of remember that I've paid for courses and then also to finish them. So on the bottom, you'll see I have the course description or the course name, the teacher, the platform it's on. I've included star ratings, whether I paid for it. So for example, is it a 5-day course or that you sign up for free, or is it a paid course? And then whether or not I finished it, so a checkbox. On the top, I am tracking books. I want to be a big reader, but I have other priorities right now. So there are a few books that I've bought that I'd like to finish up. And then there's some nonfiction reference books as well that I want to read and spend time with. So that's what that book one is for as well. We'll have the name of the book, the author, the type of book, whether it's nonfiction, what its intended purpose is, whether it's enjoyment or self-improvement or business or work, a 5-star rating, and then the book in one word. I thought that was a great way to sum up how I felt about a book. And so I wanted to, when I set up my first bullet journal, I said 3 words, but because of space, I said 1 word. And then I'm just using the stem set with the 5 stars to fill out what I liked about the book. I do have a Goodreads account, but I'm not really active on Goodreads. So yeah, I thought I'd just do it in my bullet journal. Now, this page I'm the most excited for. So last year for 2022, for my mid-year setup, I created circles to color in, and each month I would showcase the color palette that I used for that month. And it was so much fun to see, and you guys really liked it too. So I thought I would do it again for this year. And so I have, I changed things up a little bit. I used a bigger stem set. So instead of allowing for 5 colors, I'm only having 4 colors to choose from for this year, which is fine. I just thought I'd note that change. And yeah, I'm really excited. This is probably my favorite layout of my 2022 bullet journal setups. So I'm excited to see how this one's going to turn out, because it's fun to see what color palette I chose depending on what was going on at the time, or, what mood I was in. So, and then this right here is a total game. I always try and line it up so that I only have to stamp the letter once. I've only once been successful or semi-successful, but I always play games. If I'm drawing lines or stamping, it's always a game. And then when I was drawing all the lines for my blog video tracker, I was trying to erase the music. So I was listening to music in the background, and I was trying to finish all my lines before the song finished. And I did not win. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a bit of background information as to how my mind works playing games to get these layouts done. So for the last layout for my setup, I really wanted to do 100 rejections. I've done something similar before, but I actually chickened out. I really do want to do 100 rejections layout, and I really want to actually work on that. Basically, the concept is you put yourself out there 100 times, and then you're guaranteed a yes. If you aim for 100 rejections, you're guaranteed to get a yes. And I don't know. I feel like I'm not ready. I don't know if I'll ever be ready. I have to be. I want to be. But I didn't think starting that layout in the middle of the year was what I needed in terms of mental health and not being upset when I didn't fulfill everything I wanted to do. So I decided to turn it into a notes page. And if I just so happen to put rejections on there, so be it. So this is my setup and completion. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out down below, and I'll be happy to answer them. Let me know if you like to do bullet journal setups or if you just jump in and get going. So let me know what your preferred method is. Thank you so much for your time today. I'll see you in the next one.